Lukewarm Christianity is the worst place to be. You don't believe the things of God to fully love Him or accept His love and break free from sin. And you can't enjoy sin because you know too much of God's law and ways. Brandon Hammonds. Brandon Hammonds was my main Bible teacher on my internship that I did at IHOP like 10 years ago. He taught us for hours and hours every single week, and so much of what he said and taught us at that time has really stuck with me. But the reason this one made it straight onto my phone that I wrote down after I heard it is because he vocalized something that I felt in my heart. When he said those words, it's like something made sense to me because I'd already felt it, and I'd already felt like I'd been in that place. That when you come to God with a lukewarm attitude, you end up in a nasty, neither here nor there kind of space where, as the piece of advice says, you can't enjoy sin because you know too much of God's ways, but you can't enjoy God because you're so weighed down by sin and you don't believe the goodness that He has for you. And I believe it's a trap that so many people get stuck in. I believe it's a trap I've been stuck in, and a trap I've seen countless people over the years when I've got to do youth work or, just any kind of work with the church and just life, friendship with people. You see people get stuck in this moment. And the reason it was so helpful is because it kind of vocalized a passage in scripture that was always hard to understand for me, which was in Revelation, Jesus' letter to the church of Laodicea. He says, "How I wish you were hot or cold. Because you are neither hot nor cold, I spit you out my mouth because you're lukewarm." Josh Whisker paraphrase there. That's probably good timing because there's a big airplane flying past right now. But it's one of those scriptures that feels harsher than we want to believe Jesus could ever be. Sometimes I think when you base your theology on worship songs and Christian TV and, non-Bible stuff, we think of Jesus as this big teddy bear who's content with the tiny bit of effort we might give Him. And I believe Jesus is someone who appreciates each part of our heart that we give over to Him. But this scripture shows that Jesus would, if we were not hot for Him, He would rather we were cold. If we were not for Him, He would rather we're against Him, because He can't stand to have a lukewarm follower, a lukewarm believer. And I'm not saying this to condemn anybody. I'm saying this to encourage us to go for it, to go after God with everything we have, because He's worth it. There's many things that Jesus says that are challenging like that. And an analogy of God that I've come to understand is when Jesus says He didn't come to bring peace to this world. Man, that one's a weird one. When me and Paige pray every night before we go to sleep, if it's my turn to come up with the things we're going to pray about, I always tease Paige by saying, "Pray for world peace." And she's always like, "I'm not praying for that because you're being silly." And then, one of those silly reasons that I say it is because it's such a, a comic relief thing to say, or like a big international fundraiser thing to say. But Jesus said He didn't come to bring peace. He came to set father against mother and mother against child and all that. And that doesn't compute in our shiny Jesus with an acoustic guitar analogy picture of who He is. And I think if we could understand the heart of God and how desperate He is for our heart, how desperate He is for His people to follow Him, how desperate He is for us to believe the things of God, to believe that statement that we can do even greater things than what Jesus saw in His ministry time here on earth. And I believe we can be people who are hot in the eyes of the Lord, who are hot and who are doing amazing things for Him like that. So the piece of advice here really, and what's affected me through this, is that if I'm tempted to go the other direction, I've said to myself, if I'm going to mess up, I've got to mess up big. I'm not encouraging anyone to mess up here. But that's usually enough to scare me into doing the right thing. That's usually been enough for me to go, nah, I've got to live this thing properly. I've got to live for God like it's my only option in life. I've got to be like Mary and smash the whole jar of perfume on His feet type thing. I can't just pour out little bits here and there. That's not what God's after. That's not what He's desiring out of my life. So I hope that can be an encouragement to you. Thank you, Brandon Hammonds, for all that you managed to teach me on that internship. I'm very grateful for everything you've done. And hopefully that's helpful. Thank you so much.